There were only two entrances and exits into Waikeria. That was one of them, that was the South Bridge. And then up the other end, where you would have come in this morning, they've got the North Bridge. Ko Mamari te Waka, ko te Trai o Rahiri te Maunga, ko Mangakahia te Awa, ko Ngāpu te Iwi, ko Ngāti Horohia te Hapu, nō reira ko Jeremy Takuingua. I grew up here as a young boy with my family. Moved here in the mid-70s when my father found work as a corrections officer. Well, then was a prison officer. So back in the day, the houses sort of filled the top of the hill there, and all along here there and up the top there, that's where the community social club was, the shop, post office, the church and the tennis courts. So for me, growing up in an environment around a prison was a journey and an adventure, and I didn't expect to see some of the things I saw here. I learned very quickly that it was an environment for warmth. Everyone knew everybody and we all looked after each other. So it was a really great environment to grow up in, and I think a lot of the skills I picked up for my current role and my role previously as a police officer, I probably adopted from seeing and viewing a lot of the things that I saw around here. Essentially this was Waikeria Primary School back in the 70s. So yeah, two classrooms behind where the rugby fields and the football fields. So this is when the classroom was used back in 1974. There's one of the classes there of the village and a lot of the children here. A few of these guys on here are now corrections officers around Waikeria and Spring Hill. Did you think you'd ever end up here doing this? No, I didn't. When I left for the UK, I thought that was it, I'm not coming back. But there were some forces at work which I suppose pulled me back here. One of them being my father. That one there, and that was taken in about 1986, 87 I think it was. That's my dad who's now passed away. Myself there as a young teenager and my mum and brother. And that's the old uniform obviously my dad used to wear. So he was very proud of the fact that I'd been a police officer in London. But even more so coming back here and working in Waikeria, you know, he gave me a seal of approval, which was really good. But I think a lot of that tikanga I'd lost, and when I came back here, I wanted to try and capture that all back again. So for me, when I first moved from the top jail, or the Maxi down into Taumarama, the Māori Focus Unit, it was a pivotal point for me. In the police, my mindset was, you know, I arrest these guys, I send them to court, they get punished, they go to prison. For me, it was out of mind, out of sight. I didn't really care what happened to them after that. When I worked in the Māori Focus Unit, Taumarama, my eyes were slowly changed, and I then realised that what I was doing down there was making a difference. Getting these guys reintegrated, giving them the tools, letting them trace their whakapapa back to their families, having an aspirational goal when they leave prison. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to motivate our men to do something rather than keep coming back into a prison in a revolving door. Because I'm sure you've heard this before, that most of our prison population is Māori. We can change their mindset and get them with the right tools in that unit. Why not try and roll it out for the rest of the prison? And that's what we're trying to do now. Communication for me is a big element. I'm trying to now teach that through my current role as a teacher and a developer. And I think if you can speak to someone, I think you're halfway there. So we're at the old community hall, which is now the gym and medal unit. So a lot of social functions were taking place here, including my own 21st. On top of the 21st, I learned how to wrestle in this hall. I also went to many rugby social engagements here. I had my first disco here during the 70s as a very young boy. You know, some good things have happened here, and I suppose I can correlate that with what I do here now. It won't work for everybody, and you know, I understand that. But if there's a little bit of what I can do will resonate with these men and to make them a better person, to get a job or whatever in the community, then for me that's gold. You know, I'm doing my job.
That's the reward. That's
the reward, and I love it. I'll go into town. You know, last year I hear my name being shouted, Mātua, Jeremy. Look over there, and lo and behold, there's a guy that used to be in Taumarama, now working for the council. So those are the sort of things that bring joy to me, seeing that I've actually achieved something.